Omar, welcome to Diaspora Food Stories. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it's good to reconnect. Thanks for reaching out a few weeks back or last month
Yeah.
and just reconnect. And I know, short story before we get started. I have first learned of you and your work in Oakland. It was a Friday night, and it was one of those first Fridays that happens. And a friend that we were going around to different spots, he told me about, oh, there's this Brazilian spot. They got music and da 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 da. And I was like, okay, let's go check it out. And long and behold, there you were.
Mhm.
And so I was like, oh my goodness. So that was just, a great evening. There was a good band going on there and all of that good stuff. I think the place has since closed
Yes.
there on Broadway. But definitely that was sort of my first introduction to you in a sense. So
You have good time.
what'd you say?
You had good time.
I did. I did. It was I stayed out a little later than what I had planned to.
Right.
But those type of evenings that are so unexpected are just fun. So
Yeah, just especially for Friday.
yes, yes. Well, so we're going to get into it to have you share your story with our listeners. That is going to start in Senegal, going to go to Argentina, Brazil, and then the USA. And so we're going to just have you sort of just walk us through. So, and just see how that journey into food is building up. So take us back to Senegal.
Sure. Yeah. My journey has been long and interested and just maybe all over the place. But I won't ever get tired about telling about it because it's actually amazing and it's all come out to a good purpose.
Yes.
Because I was born in Senegal in a small town called Mekke,
Okay.
nestled between Saint Louis, which is the old capital, and
Mm,
Dakar, which is the new capital.
okay.
So Mekke was a very, very small town, probably 2 or 3 thousand people
Mhm.
there. Yeah, I grew up with my mom around my mommy's kitchen, very interested on, helping her at first. Didn't even know even that I would be one day be a chef, but I just wanted to
Mhm.
help, and later I actually left my house very early. I left about 16 because I went
Okay.
to high school in another city called Chess, which is
Okay.
about 50 kilometers from Mekke. And there I spent 3 years and then went to college to Dakar, uh, I attend law school.
Mhm.
Very leadership in college, doing all over thing to help people and lead people. And from college, I went to Argentina. First, I wanted to be a soccer player because my own interest was to help my family, and
Okay.
that was a way that I found that would have been faster,
Okay.
because I had a talent about playing soccer, and I was very passionate about it. And Argentina is very known by soccer, so
Mhm.
attended one soccer club there that for a little bit of with a little bit of luck they scouted me, and I start training with them, and then I got injured. But before I even got injured, I started going to culinary school because I had a lot of time left. So
Okay.
we train the morning from 7 to 12, and then you have the rest of the day free. So I went to attend culinary school. I did
Okay.
vending, and while I was culinary school, I also was vending food at the street. And then later the economy of Argentina started getting worsened, so I moved to Brazil
Okay.
because this Olympic was coming. Also, the World Cup 2014 was coming. So then I wanted to be part of that. So I went there and uh, lived there for about 5 years,
Mhm.
working in hotels and everything. My most proud moment in Brazil was, of course, working for the 2014 World Cup and 2016 Olympics.
Nice, nice. And I'm going to stop you right there and we're going to go back because I'm going to dig a little bit more in Brazil, but I'm going to come back as well. What was that transition like from going from Senegal to Argentina?
In terms of
Just life and culture and
yeah,
food.
yeah, cultural shock basically, because like I said, I was born in a small town. The biggest town I ever seen was Dakar.
Hmm.
All of a sudden, I was in these massive streets of Buenos Aires with different people, a language just very different of what I knew. By the way, I was very interested very early on about languages. So
Okay.
when the reason why I left to make it to chess is because I wanted to learn Russian language.
Oh,
Some
oh.
reason I was uh, I was very like in love with Russian language
Oh.
because the cadence and all of the stuff. So I went for to chess to study, and but I didn't know I was gonna be in a Spanish country. So otherwise I would have learned Spanish.
Hmm.
So I came to Argentina. My first shock was that, and also the beautiful aroma of coffee, food. You cannot help, but you have to kind of like notice that in Argentina. The pastries and all of that. So all of that, I was like, I want to learn this. I want to learn more. So since I have the skill of food, I'm gonna go to culinary school just to professionalize it and fill up my time. But at the time, I actually thought that I was going to be a soccer player. But
Okay.
thanks to God, I did anticipate. Just like I
Right.
always say, I when I was child, I always anticipated things, even coming to Latin America.
Hmm.
Because I remember when I was very young, I remember one time at school, the teacher asked about, what you're going to become. Because it was a trend at the time, not social media, because there was no social media at the time. There was a song that came out, and the guy in the song was telling what he wanted to become and what he ended up becoming. So our professor was trying to recreate that. So he asked everybody, "What do you want to become when you grow up?" So the only thing I wrote on the paper was I want to travel in Latin America.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah, and it was like why I did even say that. You know, that's why I like when I was in Argentina. That was like homecoming of the soul. I just felt like this is home. So and
Wow.
transition was great.
Well, let me ask you this. So, cooking, um, in some African countries, cultures, men in the kitchen, right? Sort of don't, not really what you're raised to do. But your mom took you into the kitchen with her. And then I believe you got teased a little bit about it too.
I did. Yeah, it was hard. I cried. It was very hard because men, like I said, this is a society that women-led kitchen is like kitchen is for women basically.
Mhm,
Men don't do anything, and even these days,
mhm,
you barely see men in the kitchen now. It's changing, but it's not changing as it is like in developed world like here.
right.
So when I was there, I had I got bullied all the time. My friends, oh, you are gay or this or that. Why you do that? But one thing that kept me going is that I felt like my family needed it
Mhm,
because so first of all, this is how it happened when I get in the kitchen first place. It was a moment of Ramadan, I remember,
okay.
and yeah, and everybody, Ramadan we cook at night because we eat at night.
Mhm.
And it happened to be at the same time that a very well-known telenovela, Mexican telenovela, Marimar, I don't know, back in the 90s. And Senegalese people love telenovela. So Marimar was broadcasting every time after around 8 p.m., when everybody was like stuck on TV, like and watching. And I noticed that my mom was alone at the kitchen because she had to cook for us.
Mm,
And it was that time that I just felt like somebody was missing in this crowd.
okay.
And then I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go sit there with her. So I'm gonna sacrifice my telenovela. That's how
Small sacrifice, just a small one.
I was not even interested, but it was a trend. So I
Mhm,
went there and sit with her and try to get to help a little bit. And that's how everything started. And I started getting, familiar with the things, how to do things and
mhm.
learning. And she patiently guided my hand, cooking and all that. So soon later, my father passed away,
Okay.
and it get harder for my mom to do the cooking, because we couldn't afford like what do you call it, somebody that cook for her, like a
Uh-huh.
home cook. So she was
Yeah.
going to work, which is about 5 miles away from home, and she was walking. So she was walking back and forth. And at 12, because in Senegal at 12 everybody go out of school
Okay.
west and then come back at 3 or 4. So she was gonna come at 12 to cook for us and then go back to work.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and coming back at night. So my brother and I got together and he was like, we have to fix this. My older brother
Mhm.
has this. So it was like, okay. So I was like, oh, I can cook. I don't mind. And are you sure? Yeah, I can. So the only complaint I had was that I didn't like to clean the fish.
Okay.
To see even now that I'm a chef, I don't like to see. How do I put it? I don't like to see blood and all of this. I'm very
All
sensitive
those
about
fish
that.
guts and all that stuff.
Yeah, that. Yeah. So she used to wake up at morning and then do that part for me and then go to work. So when
Mm,
I come out of school, I cook, and then my younger brother take it to her, so she
okay.
didn't have to come back, and that's how we arranged to live. And all the neighborhood knows that I was in the kitchen, and they start bullying and everything. But my mom used to say always, you never know when you need it, when you just need it.
Absolutely.
Words. And it,
Absolutely.
when I get to a foreign land that I didn't know what to do, instantly I know that I have a career here that I can follow.
Wow. So what was culinary school like in Argentina?
So culinary school was a little bit like empty, I would say.
Mm,
So and it's very interesting because I was doing it, like as I said, I following my dream, but it's also the bullying that I was suffering at home.
mhm,
It's kind of a little bit here because I remember in my classroom it was about 17, and I remember it was like 4 women or 5 women, and
mhm.
then the rest was gay actually.
Okay.
And I felt like I was, you know when you like kind of start questioning yourself because of all the things that they put in my brain when I was child, and
Mhm.
that was bothering me, and I was almost quit. But and I just like determined it was like it's not a big deal. It was not like a culinary school like CIA. It's just like a free culinary school that people go to attend and
Gotcha.
get a certificate and stuff like that. And by the time I'm getting my certificate, I already opened a restaurant. I was very lucky, because, like I said, I was doing street vending at the
Mm.
same time,
Now, what
and
were you serving? Street vendor. What were you serving?
Senegalese food.
Okay.
One thing I noticed, because one person that hosted me was a distant relative. His name is Samba. So
Mhm.
he hosted me in his apartment, and he vend at the street. He has like a little stall that he put at the street, like selling jewelries, watches, and arts.
Mhm.
There was a lot of vendors from Africa in that street,
Okay.
and the only thing that they had access was empanadas, pizzas, and I feel like they was tired about it.
Mhm.
And I asked Samba if I can cook from his kitchen to the fellow vendor. He said, "Yeah, of course, that would be welcome." And so I started doing that, and I was very busy doing it. Probably 20-25 lunch a day box.
Okay.
And yeah, and one of those persons that I was serving food every day, which was actually an Argentinian person. He said one day to me, "You have a talent." And I'm not from here. I'm from Necochea, of the coast of Argentina. And he
Mhm.
said he had a bar and a restaurant that he had been closed for 2 years. And he said, if you want to take it for the summer, because in Argentina's culture, in summer everybody goes, go to the coast.
Okay.
Mar del Plata or Necochea, Visa, Gesell, those cities, everybody go for vacation. And then he offered me that for summer. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna save money and do. And I traveled there and see the place. It was beautiful, and it had
Mm.
even the folks played everything. It was closed, a lot of dust. But I gathered some couple of friends. We cleaned it up, and I opened my first restaurant, and I called it Playa Madero.
Wow, look at you.
And the guy was kind enough to say, I know you're gonna make it, so you're gonna pay me after the summer.
Okay.
So I didn't put a penny down. I just used the money that I had to buy inventory and hire some Argentinian to help. And that went viral. It was very cool. And I started just like Oakland. I was doing like music, African beats. Sometimes I bring somebody that play the
Mhm.
djembe. So it was very, very interesting and very energetic, and bring
And
very.
they were a good response?
Exactly. So he actually bring a lot of energy in the town.
Okay.
But there was one thing that was not good. It was that because it was a summer, and that city after summer is dead,
Mm.
you know. So it was 3-4 months that you kind of like make money, and then the rest of the year you have to close.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was the part that was not very good. So I have to kind of hustle the rest of the year and then try to make it back to. So I did it 2 years, and I was like, okay, I'm done with it.
Mhm, mhm. Now, meanwhile, how's your mom? How she's doing back in Senegal? She proud of you, and look at you using that plan B, right?
Right. So yeah, they was very very happy about it, that I can find something to do instead of the soccer and everything, because my mom was not ever, a huge fan of soccer. It's not
Okay,
wanted us to go to school, and
exactly. Get that law degree or that doctor degree or
right.
something,
When I was
something in
in
the
law school,
science. Huh?
and I was in law school, my older brother was in medical school.
Okay,
He's now a dentist, so he's,
okay,
everybody is happy about it. But something that was very interesting about that time is that when I come back to the country 5 or 7 years later, because I left in 2006 and I come back 2013. So when I came back, I happened to be, my younger brother happened to be the president of NELA. It was a English association, because there was English lover, you know. NELA English is spelled National English Lover Association.
gotcha.
So yeah, he was president, and they had like a huge following of his students, and they was doing this yearly gathering. So he invited me in stage. It was just like 2 days after me landing there, and he introduced me to everybody as a chef, and he said that I cater for the night, and I didn't. He planned everything, because I was not even there. I planned it 2 days ago,
Hmm.
and he was like, "This is a man," and he got his passion, and now he's doing this for a living in Argentina. He's crashing it, and start showing my picture video and everything. And that moment actually was very very proud, because I was shy about doing it, and now I'm standing in front of a lot of students, and I got a lot of response in my vacation in that time. It was 15 days, but I got a lot of people approaching me, how I can become a chef, what do you
Okay,
recommend, and all of
representation, right?
that. And some of those people I still talk to them, and some of them actually are chefs now.
Wow.
Yeah, which is very 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 cool moment.
Now, going back, have you seen some of your friends that were bullying you growing up, and seeing, how food is more than just being in the kitchen, is about life skills and a career?
Yeah, guess what? So we was like a group of maybe 13 people, and we play soccer together, just like regular friends, and we still in touch because we create a WhatsApp group and everything. But
Nice.
yeah, but from now and then we actually play with that. We kind of like send a message and everything. One interesting thing is that I'm the only one that has traveled the world for that group.
Mm.
And when I talk to them, that I was like, you guys was bullying, and now look at me. I speak. Whenever you need something, when they need something, like let's say they need like a good phone or something like that, they have to send me the money. I buy it here or something like that. And they follow my work also. They follow my work. They share my video. They are very proud about what
Nice,
happened.
nice. So, getting ready to make a detour in Argentina, and then what led you to Brazil again?
Yeah, so Argentina in the late 2000s start getting the economy very worsened. So the
Okay.
peso was start getting very bad. I remember when I got there, I don't want to say wrong numbers, but the peso went down maybe 10 times or 20
Mhm.
times. So it started getting harder for me to send money back home, which I was doing
Gotcha.
almost every week. I
Okay.
have a percentage of my earning that I always send to my mom.
Mhm.
One interesting fact is that at the time I was getting at those times that I was like, I think it was 2008. It was like about maybe year and a half that my earning was bad, and I went broke, and I couldn't send money home. And I remember my mom offering me money this time.
Oh.
Like I was putting away what he was sending, so I can send you so that you can, let's say I want to rent an apartment or something like that.
Mhm.
But my instinct was always like, my ideology was always like, I'm not gonna receive back money back home. I have to send back home. So I
Mhm.
refused and just determined myself to try and figuring it out.
Mhm.
There was a time that I actually sleep at the streets. Yes,
Oh, wow.
yes, it was that hard. Not that because I didn't have a home, but maybe this couple of times that happened is because I had a home, but I didn't want to go back because I didn't pay rent.
Okay.
I didn't want to have to face my friend, because what we was doing at the time was like we get together, maybe Africans, like West African people, maybe 5 people get a 1 bedroom apartment or 2 bedroom apartment and share. That's what we used to do.
Mhm.
And I didn't want to come back and face my friends because I didn't. So it will happen 2 times that I actually stay outside in the street
Mhm.
overnight. So and then I come back when they go to work so that they
Okay.
don't see me. And but when I was starting getting a little bit frustrated about that, I found very clever idea about, like, when I was doing the street vending that I said, the clever idea I had was, we actually at the time we participate, like everybody, let's say, give $10 a day, and then somebody cook by turn. So
Mhm.
but everybody was looking forward for my turn, because as I said, men don't cook sometimes, and then I was very skilled in the kitchen. So I ended up saying, guys, if you guys agree, I stop paying rent. I expect doing that, but I take care of the cooking. So
Mm.
you guys give me the money. I cook every day, so you guys don't have to worry about it. And they was like, they embrace it. They was happy about it.
Oh, okay. Ding, ding, ding.
And it actually become a little bit income for me, because when you know what you're doing, you kind of shop and save money. And sometimes I shop for one day and cook for 2 days.
Hmm.
And with that money I was collecting, I start making profit with that. And I don't pay rent anymore. They have free food.
Nice.
Everybody was fine. That
Wonderful.
led to me to move to Brazil, because that life was a little bit tough, and I wanted something like a little bit uh, secure. I,
Right.
I wanted like a job. One of my mentor, which was like an old guy that was selling, that has like a stall at the street that sell
Hmm.
journals. If you went to Argentina, you have seen those kind of posts. Like,
It's been years, years.
yeah, they have new paper posts in every corner. So one of those guys was become a mentor, an old guy. I don't even know if he's alive now, but he was very old, and he was a friend, and he was like, "You need a job, because with this skill you have, if you got a good job, you can sustain yourself and your family." But
Hmm.
I had the entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah.
But and then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna take a job, and then I can learn more, and I also can have money that's actually sustainable. And that's where I start making my resume and then sending it all over the place.
Hmm.
I was specifically targeting Brazil because I know those sport event was on the horizon. So I was
Gotcha.
targeting Brazil for specific
And
reason.
soccer too, right? Between Argentina and Brazil. Yep.
Yeah. And one day I received an email from Hotel Fayal, which is a very nice hotel in downtown Florida. But I was scared because I didn't know the Portuguese. But I was like,
Mm.
when I see movies or I see a journal, a Portuguese journal, I thought it was going to be easy to learn. So I traveled to Brazil, but I was also very smart about not going directly to the hotel, because I didn't want to burn myself right away. So I was like, I need about 3 to 6 months to get there. So
Okay.
they agreed, right? But I packed right away and I went to Brazil. So I went to Passo Fundo, which is a very laid back state,
Hmm.
laid back town. And I went to actually to find a job in what do you call it? This manufacturing. There was a what do you call it? They manufacture farming. When they do farming,
Okay.
those big machines.
And harvesting and all of that.
Yeah, it's called Kun, Khun. So
Okay.
I went to work there because I know those kind of job didn't need me talking too much. So you just need
Okay.
to assemble things. So and then
You're listening to.
I start learning Portuguese. And that's also another fact that's very interesting when I was staying there. Because same strategy I had in Argentina, it happened here, because I was staying in a hostel that was frequented by Africans.
Okay.
And same thing, it was more Africans because this was a hostel, maybe 80% frequented by Africans.
Hmm.
And then I also asked the hostel manager, Clarissa, to cook for the people. And he agreed, because I see how they were struggling to try to make it. And I start cooking there, also having another business. Yeah, every day I come to work about 3 p.m. and I stop at this supermarket, buy the ingredients, cook, and usually we eat just one time at night because everybody go to work during the day.
Okay.
Yeah, and I had also another business, and after 6 months or less than 6 months, I mastered Portuguese.
No. Well,
I was,
Wow.
I was determined, and Clarissa and her daughter helped a lot because not only I was cooking in her hostel, but my agreement with her was that I was going to feed them, and ended up that we become friends, and they do my laundry. I don't pay rent anymore for her, and they taught me Portuguese, and I realized that it was not that bad.
Okay. Because you learned Spanish too. So you had French, you had Spanish, or what's your mother tongue? I don't want to assume it's French. But what's your mother tongue?
Wolof.
Wolof. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when he was growing up, I maybe that's what triggered my ability to learn language. When he
Mhm.
was growing up, my mom's strategy raising us was to keep us busy. So she was sending us to two schools. We was going to French school and then Arabic school.
Okay.
Yeah. So I early on I learned how to write, read, and understand Arabic a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And later I said I went to Russian school. So it was all of those, baggage, I think, trigger something in my brain that was easy to learn.
Well, talking to our mutual friend, Chef Pierre Tiem, he said that growing up, his mother spoke Portuguese in the home.
Yeah, I heard it.
And I was like, wow, I would have never thought Senegal Portuguese. So that was something I learned when we talked to him.
Right. Senegal is a place where they actually accumulated a lot of cultures, languages, food. It's just what it is. It's a
Hmm.
colonial country, but they have a lot of people coming in and out. And it's also very close to Cape Verde,
Okay.
which
Okay.
they speak Portuguese. And I believe her mom may be from Cape Verde or something. Or
That
it
that
doesn't
makes
matter. They descendants of somehow Portuguese people.
that makes sense. So now you got this language on lock, huh? And so now we're going to the position that you got before
Yes.
you came. Okay.
Yeah, I almost didn't go because my life was starting getting better in yeah. But yeah, no, I decided to just check it out because I was feeling like maybe this is gonna be a good thing for me.
Hmm.
So arriving in the hotel, I actually didn't take my position that I was supposed to take.
Okay.
Because I was supposed to be a chef because I guess they see my resume was very attractive, but I was like, uh, my Portuguese was not excellent. So I also wanted to learn. So I
Hmm.
accepted to be in the background. So I accepted like
Okay.
as a cook, but at night, so that I can learn the Brazilian because at this point I was, my Argentinian and maybe Senegalese background, but I didn't know nothing about Brazilian food.
Gotcha.
Even when I was in Paso Fundo, I was cooking African food and Argentinian food sometimes.
Okay.
So two ways I found I learned that. So first I was at this Fayal hotel, and my shift was from 3 to midnight, 3 p.m. to midnight. And in the morning, I decided to go to work with Abraham, which is like a churrascaria. You know
Okay.
those,
Yep.
yeah, just
Hmm.
like fogão.
Hmm. Okay. Yep.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it was, free churrascaria thing. So I went to work on that, but I went to work as a waiter. Yeah, I didn't want to be stuck in the kitchen all the time, not seeing how people eat.
Hmm.
And that was very close to my house. It was like walking distance. So I was seeing a line every time at 11 and 10. So I was like, I went there and talked to the owner. He hired me with very low pay, but I accepted it nonetheless because I wanted to learn the
Right.
Brazilian dining costume. So I made a lot of friends. I talk to everybody. I see how much they live in the plate, how much
Hmm.
they eat, what they eat most. And that's combining that with what I'm doing in the kitchen. I was able to do a very, very good job at the hotel.
Wow. So let's talk about the food and just starting to learn about Brazilian cuisine and then that link, right? To from Africa to Brazil with those that were enslaved and the ancestors. So now you're starting to put this all together.
Yeah, so interesting is that when I started learning about Brazilian food, I found a lot of similarity.
Mhm.
I remember in the hotel, I had one lady called Nilda. She always tell me like, make vatapa, Omar, make vatapa. I was like, what the hell is vatapa? Because she's from Bahia.
Okay.
She always say that. Yeah, make vatapa, Omar, you cook very good. I know you're gonna make a good vatapa. And then I was like, okay, tell me how to make it. Because there was not such a thing as an internet, blue and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
you kind of rely on book, cookbook and stuff. So she ended up giving me a cookbook, a
Mhm.
gift. And then I learned how to make vatapá first, which I realized that it was very similar to Senegalese cooking and technique.
Mm.
And yeah, I started experimenting. But what actually taught me about Afro-Brazilian and Afro-Brazilian influence was another lady in Rio de Janeiro. That was when I moved to Rio de Janeiro.
Okay.
Because Florianopolis is very nice. I say Floripa because everybody say Floripa.
Mhm.
It's a shortness for Florianopolis. Yeah, Florianopolis is different. It's a very southern, very white kind of central Brazilian. But Rio is different. It's like very cosmopolitan and has a
Mhm.
lot of African background. That felt like more home.
Okay. Yep.
So yeah, in there I met a person called Genesee, which was
Okay.
I call her my Brazilian mom.
I always got to have a mom somewhere.
Yeah, she used to be amazing. She passed away 2 years ago,
Mhm.
but she's amazing. So the only thing that was bad about her is where she lived, because she was living in Rocinha, which is one of the biggest favela in Rio de Janeiro.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I was scared all the time, every time that I have to go there. Sometimes she have to come down to pick me up in a motorcycle and go back, because I was scared to travel anyway in that environment, because I
Mhm.
didn't know. But Genesee was actually the one that take me under her wings and show me about Brazilian culture. She's
Nice.
originally also from Bahia, and she started teaching me everything about Brazilian food, how to make muqueca, how to make feijoada,
Mm.
how to make all of that. And I start like getting very interested about that, and I actually travel to Bahia, spend sometimes there just to learn about the culture. One particular dish that I think was the turning point was acarajé for me.
Okay.
Yeah, acarajé, not only by the name, because the name acarajé is called West African, it's called akara in Senegal, and I think it's called akara in Nigeria. And you come to Brazil, it's called acarajé. So I was,
Mm.
this is, even the smell, the technique, the black eyes piece that they match and hand twist it and then deep fry it. That's what actually started making in my brain something that I was eating when I was children,
Mhm.
and I come here and it's the same taste and everything. So I start thinking that there is something uh, interesting that happened. And with Genesis mentorship, I knew that it was the transatlantic slavery that
Mm. Yep.
those kind of techniques and ingredients. And I start focusing on Afro-Brazilian cuisine since then.
Nice. Nice.
In Auckland, when I started my business, when you come there, it was Afro-Brazilian cuisine. So still Afro.
Wow. Wow. So how did you get to do the 2014, is it FIFA? Is it called?
Yeah. So the FIFA World Soccer World Cup. Yeah.
Yes. How did that come about?
So yeah. So when I was in Florianopolis, I met a couple, and they actually was the couple that brought me to Rio de Janeiro, because they
Oh.
was like, they just see the way that I cook, and they was like, you will do well in Rio de Janeiro,
Mm.
and we can host you. And they actually flew me there, and they connected me with Genesee, and it was a very nice couple lawyers, and they also connected me to another lady called Claudia. So Claudia had a catering business,
Okay.
and she's big in Rio de Janeiro, and she also loved me very much and see the talents that I have in cooking. And she was like, I'm gonna hire you if you want to work with me for 4 years at least. So it was 2014, no, 2 years, 2014 to 2016. So my contract with her was to do the World Cup and then stay to Olympics.
Okay.
So the World Cup, we was serving caterings to the VIP, basically. Sometimes soccer players, family, in the stadium and stuff like that. That's what we was doing. So
Did you meet anyone that you were just like, oh my goodness, grew up?
of course, yeah, I met a lot of players, but the 2016 Olympic was better because I was meeting these NBA players.
Oh, okay.
I was cooking for the NBA too. So I got the chance to meet a lot of them. And I was not a basketball fan at the time, but
Mhm.
they was known, these people was known. But the interesting part for me was not about meeting them, but it was that in my head I felt like I was supposed to be here playing. So I'm not.
Oh.
I'm in the kitchen, but I'm gonna compete like I'm playing. So I'm gonna win everything that's in front of me.
Mhm.
That was my mentality, and that's the connection about soccer and cooking that I found very interesting. And I start like playing and writing about it and talking about it, and every time I'm in the kitchen, I kind of like I get prepared just like I'm going to a match, and I celebrate every victory.